Standard 8th, Subject English, Chapter number 1.2, Dick Whittington and his cat. Dick Whittington is the name of a person, and this story is about him and his cat. There was once a poor boy called Dick Whittington who lived in a small village in the south of England. He had no proper home, for both his parents had died, and he was unkindly treated by many of the villagers. The villagers were not treating him kindly, they were not treating him properly. One day, Dick overheard someone say that the streets of London were paved with gold, and he decided that he would go there at once and pick his fortune up in gold pieces from the streets, for he thought people might treat him more kindly if he were rich. After going through all the hardships in life, this little boy overheard someone say that the streets of London are paved with gold. Paved means when the footpaths are made of gold. So what he thought, that he will go to England and he will pick up his fortune, he will pick up the gold pieces from the streets, because he believed that the people are treating him badly because he is poor, and the condition may improve if he is rich. So young Dick set out to walk to London. He is poor, he cannot afford any sort of transport, though we do not know in which year this story is set and what modes of transport were available, but this particular boy is unable to afford any means of travel. So he set out walking. He had not gone far when a man in a cart stopped and asked him if he was running away from home. Now this particular man is caring. He thinks that this particular boy may have run away from home because someone may have scolded him, or because he is not finding himself comfortable in a particular situation. "I have no home," Dick answered. "I am on my way to London to find my fortune." "I am going to London myself," said the carter. Carter means the one who is using the cart, who is riding the cart. "Jump up here beside me and we will journey together." This man is feeling pity on the boy and he offers a free ride to the boy. They arrived in London just before nightfall, just before it was dark, just before it was night, and the carter left Dick and made his way to an inn. Now he is going to an inn. An inn is a hotel, type of a hotel. Poor Dick stood all alone and looked around him in dismay. Dismay means sadness, disappointment. Where was all that fine gold? He is looking at the pavement, he is looking at the footpath, but he is unable to find gold anywhere in the streets of London. All he could see were dirty streets and lots of unfriendly people. Again, the same thing is happening here as well. He had nowhere to sleep, and in the end, he spent the night in the corner of an alley, that is a lane, a narrow passage between or behind two buildings, where he hoped he would come to no harm, where no one will harm him in any way. So he went to the corner of a lane and he spent the night in the corner. The next morning, Dick woke up cold, miserable, and very hungry. He was feeling cold, he was hungry, and he was not finding himself comfortable. It was a strangely place. He wandered around begging for food. He roamed around asking for food from people, but again and again people shouted at him, "Go away, you lazy fellow, be off with you," and aimed angry blows at his head. People beat him, people hit him on his head. At last he collapsed in the street and lay there, too weak to look further for food. He became unconscious. Even if he did not become unconscious, he was too weak to walk. He just fell down on the ground in that lane, on that road. He did not have any energy to walk any further finding for food. By chance, Dick had fallen in front of a house belonging to a rich merchant called Mr. Fitzwarren. The cook was trying to drive Dick away when Mr. Fitzwarren returned home from inspecting his ships. This particular person, Mr. Fitzwarren, has ships. He's a ship merchant. He was coming back home when he saw his cook trying to drive Dick away from his house, from in front of his house. He stopped and said to Dick, "Why don't you work if you need food?" "I would work," said Dick, "but I know nobody who will give me anything to do." "Take him into the kitchen," Mr. Fitzwarren ordered the cook. "Feed him first and then find some work for him." So Dick was given a home and a living. Living means a salary, a job. He had a small corner of the attic to sleep in, and his job was to help the cook with all the pots and pans in the kitchen. Attic is a very small room inside a pointed roof. We have a pointed roof in the villages. So the part above the actual room, in Hindi we also call it as Madia or attic. That particular place was given to him for a stay. And what was his job? He was supposed to help the cook with all the pots and pans in the kitchen. Yes, bringing the pots and pans from the shelf? No. Cleaning them, washing them, drying them, arranging them. Dick's life should have been much better than before, but he still had two difficulties to face. His life was definitely better than before, but what were the two problems that he was facing? The first was that the attic he slept in was overrun by rats and mice. At night, they scampered all over him and kept him awake. They ran here and there. So that kept him awake all night. He was unable to sleep properly. After a time, he solved this problem by saving the few pennies he was paid and buying himself a cat. What was the first thing that Dick Whittington bought? A cat. Why? So that he is able to sleep properly. In no time at all, the cat chased away all the rats and mice, and Dick was able to sleep peacefully. We need to notice that rats and mice both are informed here. The difference between rats and mice? Yes, a mouse has larger ears as compared to a rat. The tail of a mouse is longer than a rat. Also, a rat has large feet and head as compared to the body, whereas a mouse has a smaller feet and smaller head as compared to its body. This is the difference between rat and mouse. So the sleep problem solved. The other difficulty, which was not so easy to overcome, was the cook's bad temper. What he was unable to solve, the problem that he was unable to solve, was that the cook had a very bad temper. He used to become angry very easily. He used to shout on the smallest of issues. She shouted and screamed all day and would scold Dick and hit him with a wooden spoon even when he was working as hard as he could. We now come to know that the cook is a lady. But how bad she was? She used to scold and hit Dick with a wooden spoon, even though the works that was done by Dick was good enough. One night, Dick decided he could stand it no more. He cannot tolerate all this scoldings and beatings. Early the next morning, before the cook was up, he set out with his cat to seek his fortune elsewhere. He did not inform anyone, and he went out. The two of them walked as far as Holloway. Holloway is the name of a place. On their way out of London, then Dick sat down on a stone to rest. It was the 1st of November, All Saints' Day, and the church bells were ringing. As Dick sat and listened, it seemed they were ringing out a message for him. Now it is a special day. It is All Saints' Day, and the church bells were ringing. What message did Dick hear in the ringing bells? Turn again, Whittington, thou worthy citizen, Lord Mayor of London. Lord Mayor of London, said Dick. I should like to be Lord Mayor and ride in a fine coach. Now he is thinking that he should become Lord Mayor of London and he should ride in a fine coach. I can put up with a few scoldings from the cook if that is what is in store for me. He is now ready to tolerate the scoldings and beatings of the cook. But he is ready to try his luck. So Dick and his cat retraced their steps, went back on their steps, went back on their way to Mr. Fitzwarren's house. Luckily, they were able to slip back before they had been missed, which means that neither the cook nor Mr. Fitzwarren nor anyone else in the house were able to come to know that Dick had disappeared without informing.